Okay, hello everyone, welcome to the new video. In this video, mainly we are going to look about the TCS coding questions. This is one of the free master classes that we take on YouTube. We'd be solving all the previous year papers that have been asked in TCS exam earlier. The pattern has changed quite a lot. So make sure that you watch this video till the end. In the first part of the video, I'll be taking like a few things related to TCS compiler and the kind of questions that they ask, the syllabus and all. And then we'll also be doing a lot of coding in this video. So stay tuned till the end. Also, I just forgot, could you also please let me know if all of you can hear me in the chat? Just please type yes if you can hear me, and then within next 10-20 seconds, we will start the session. Right. Yeah, so people are also asking comments regarding the so Abhishek is asking that if we can use Python in TCS exam. Abhishek, yes, you can use Python in TCS exam. In fact, one of my slides covers the languages that you can use, so don't worry. You can ask questions if you have in the chat. At the end of the video, I will be answering most of the questions that you asked to me, so don't worry. In the between, I'll try to take up a few questions, but when I'm teaching, right, in that case, it will be a little weird if I take a lot of questions and then not teach. So which is why at the end I'll be taking most of the questions that you ask. But if I see any genuine good question, then I'll be asking it. Then I'll be answering it parallelly as well. Right. So people are telling me that they can hear me. Yes. Shishant is saying yes. Everyone is saying yes. Okay. So we'll begin. Okay. So first of all, which all coding languages can you use in TCS exam? So you can use C, C++, Java, Perl and Python. These are the 5 languages that are given by them. However, maybe 1 or 2 languages could be added this year. If in case they add it, on the TCS syllabus page of Prep Insta, we will update the languages that they will. It is highly unlikely that they will include any languages because 95% of the people will be coding in any of the languages out of these 5. So which is why maybe they'll not include any further languages. But if in case they do, we'll also include the link of the syllabus video in the description of the video. In fact, we would have already done that. So you can check that already. Right. Then just give me 1 second. Okay, so then about test cases. So generally test cases in TCS, there are various versions of test cases. Sometimes they give you 2 test cases, sometimes they give you 3, sometimes they give you 4. It depends upon the level of difficulty of the question. If the question is more difficult, in that case, they will give you more test cases, right? So if they give you 3 test cases, then 3 of them would be public and 3 of them would be private. That is, you can check 3 test cases on your own. However, 3 test cases will not be shown to you, but TCS will be calculating, TCS will be, verifying them in the backend, which you will not be able to see. If you answer all, if all of your test cases meet the criteria, in that case, you will get the full marks. If let's say only 5 test cases out of 6 are passing, in that case, you will get 5 out of 5 by 6 into 100 marks, right? Sometimes they also give you 6 public test cases. In that case, let's say if you pass 11 test cases out of 12, in that case 11 out of 12 multiplied by total marks of the question, right? So this would be the marking scheme. Even in fact, this question was just recently asked in the comments while I was checking the comment section parallelly here. Is command line programming still asked? Command line programming is not an option anymore in coding. So you don't need to code in command line programming, just these 5 languages that I showed you earlier. However, you still need to learn command line programming because TCS does ask command line programming in the programming logic section, that is the MCQ type of section for coding, right? So maybe 1 or max 2 questions, it is highly likely that they'll only ask 1 question, but definitely 1 question would be there as a MCQ question in for command line programming. So you do need to learn that, right? So what kind of, so a lot of people ask that, sir, what is the syllabus for TCS? What specifically should I study for coding in TCS? In fact, TCS has not given any syllabus, but understanding the last 4-5 years pattern, we have gotten to know this. In fact, we are in constant touch with TCS. We are very, with the TCS ION team, we are in constant touch, which conducts all these exams. So with their help itself, we have gotten to know a little inside information on the difficulty level, on the type of questions that they are focusing this year. So based upon that, we have created a table, or we have created some particular topics that you should focus more upon. This would be operations on strings. So strings question would be per se that change all the they would be giving you like a string, and then they'll be asking you that, okay, change all the vowels in the string to a special character like @. So whenever you encounter any vowel, you need to change that vowel to @ and then print this whole string again. Or maybe like they could also do with consonants. They could also say that capitalize all the vowels or capitalize only the first and the last letter of a array or of a string, right? So the such kind of questions. Number pattern, number series, and pattern printing. So number pattern and pattern printing would be like, you print one star and then 2 star into 3 in the next line, and then 4 star into 5 star into 6 star in the next line. So such kind of pattern printing question. Number series would be like, they may ask you like a GP type of question or like AP type of question, or mix two AP and GPs together. So for example, 0, 4, 3 and 8 and then 6. So there are two GPs here. In the even position, it is a GP of let's say, or AP of 2, and then at the odd position there is AP of 3. So such kind of number series printing questions could be asked, and in fact this such question was asked just last time in the TCS exam. Then you would also have number conversion, which was asked just last time also in the last year exams, about hexadecimal number. So binary to octal, octal to binary, and decimal to octal, octal to decimal, hexadecimal, all these things you should know. Coordinate geometry question. In fact, this coordinate geometry question I'm going to take up in this video, so you will understand more about it. Operations on matrices would be asked, like matrix multiplication, deletion, adding all the rows and columns. Not that easy, but yes, the concept would be the same, and then they'll make it difficult. Operation on arrays, like if they give you an they ask user for an input of an array, then they which can have both positive and negative numbers, and then they would ask, okay, you have to find maximum continuous sum in that case, right? So questions on arrays. Then operations on numbers. So numbers would be like reversing a number, or palindrome, or Armstrong number, or perfect number, Harshad number. These are easy questions. What TCS likes to do is they take up these easy questions, they change a little bit of logic, make it a little more difficult, and then they ask you to code. So that should be basics of what you should be doing. What we'll also be doing is all the previous year questions that are asked in TCS, we'll give you the link to that in the description of the video. In fact, one person was just asking the same question in the comments, sir, can you give us the list of all the questions asked in previous year? We'll include a link in the description. In fact, my team would have done it already. And in fact, other programs that are not actual previous year questions of TCS, but we suspect that, okay, this could be asked, or something that you should definitely be studying for TCS preparation, we'll also include all of those links as well. Right. So one more thing is there is some language issue with the TCS NQT compiler, and this is something that we tell every year to all the students. Some students take our suggestions, some students don't. In fact, this happened last time. Last time also we told that do not code in Python and Perl. I understand, I am a Python lover. I really love Python as a language. It's very efficient. It's very easy to write. The number of codes that you have to, the number of lines of code that you have to write would be lesser in this case. However, there are some issues with the Python compiler. Is some libraries in the Python compiler are not there. Some functions do not work properly. In fact, last time it happened with one of our students, not one, many of our students of Prep and Start TCS online class students, that they started coding in Python, and then they just before they started to compile it, even though they had written perfect code, the same code, if they would run in their own compiler online, would work properly, would compile perfectly, but was not working in TCS compiler at all because of many issues there. We hope that they will fix this time, but you can't be sure about it. So you don't want to waste like 90% of your time coding, and then when the 10% time is left, you compile it and the program is not running because of these issues. We tell this thing every year. Then students are like, okay, Prep Insta, who cares about what Prep Insta says, right? I love Python, I'll code in Python, and then they regret. What would be our benefit to tell you to not to code in Python, right? We are not getting any money that, okay, TCS is saying, okay, Prep Insta, if you tell students to not to code in Python, we'll give you some money. It's not like that. We are only telling you for your own benefit. So which is why do not code in Python or Perl, use C, C++ or Java. because most of the Python people know C or C++ definitely, right? So only code in C, C++ and Python. That is our suggestion. In fact, for all the colleges that we are partnered with, for all the students who have enrolled in our online classes, we strictly tell them that you will not code in Python. In fact, a lot of colleges that we are telling them, we have also sent them emails telling them to forward those emails to their students to not to code in Python. So we are doing the same for you as well. Right. Another compilation issue is there in TCS compiler is because lakhs of students are giving exams simultaneously. So their website becomes a little slow. So if you send some compilation request to the server, it usually takes anywhere between 30 to 60 seconds of time, which the good amount of time which you can otherwise have used for coding. In this particular time, your screen freezes. So which is why you cannot code also. So which is why I request you that use compilation only when you know that okay, your compiler or your program is perfect. Try to avoid compilation, else you will wait a lot of time, right? So let's begin with the coding part of the video, right? And this is one of the questions that was asked in TCS. This is the actual verified TCS NQT question of last year. This is a difficult, not a difficult question. The language of the question is a little difficult. The question is relatively easier. So let me read it first and then I'll explain you how you can tackle such kind of questions. So what they are saying is, in our Hori culture had several great persons since the time of immemorial and King Vikramaditya Navaratnas, that is 9 gems, belongs to this ilk. They are named in the following shloka. So if I am to translate it in a normal English format, they are saying, okay, several great persons were there during the time of this king. And there are 9 Ratnas, that is 9 very influential people. And then these people are named in the following shlok. Okay, and then these are the names of these people: Dhanvantari, Sharshanka, Damar Singh, Randus, Chedalmad, Jhatakpar, Karmadik, and all of that. So this is very difficult Sanskrit, which even I cannot read properly, and you should not even try reading the whole sentence. You will end up wasting time. This has no relation to the coding part of the video, right? So again, was that very necessary to put up a story? They are just giving you a story to waste your time. You should be smart enough to understand that what part you should be reading and what part you should not be reading, or just reading once and quickly going ahead. Don't read twice. Move ahead, don't read twice. Then among these, Vara Mihada was an astrologer of eminence, and his book Birhat Jatak is reckoned as ultimate authority in astrology. He was once talking about Amar Sinha, another great gem among the Navratnas and the author of Sanskrit Thesaurus, Amara Kosha. Amar Sinha wanted to know the final position of a person who starts from origin 00 and travels per the following scheme. So basically in general English, what they are saying is, there was a person, Vara Mihra, who was a famous astrologer. There was his friend also, Amar Sinha, who was also a famous astrologer and Navratnas. So astrologers are like, I want to predict things, right? Nobody could predict coronavirus, but these guys want to predict the position of a person. But again, let's see. Okay, so he wants to predict the final location of a person, and he starts from the origin 00 and travels per the following scheme, right? So let's see regarding it. Okay, so let's look at the directions that these people are giving. So what they are saying essentially here is, he first turns and travels 10 units of distance. Okay, then they say his second turn is upwards 20 units. Then his third turn it's towards the left 30 units. Then fourth turn is downwards 40. Then fifth turn is to the right again 50. Okay, so some rules that they are saying, and then they are saying, and thus he travels. So does he keeps on traveling again and again, every time increasing the travel distance by 10 units. Okay, so what they are saying here is, they'll give you an input of, in fact, there should be the question somewhere. Okay, so they'll give you an input of 3. So in that case, by that you mean that, okay, there are 3 as an input. So he makes 3 steps. So step 1 turns and travels 10 units. Then step 2 turns upwards and 20 units, and turn 3 for 30 units, right? So this is what these guys are telling. Okay, then they are giving, okay, input 5, expected output is 30, 20. Okay, so then he makes 5 steps. So basically fifth turn, right? And then input 4, then these are the values, and then input 7, then these are the values, right? So they are saying, so basically you will have only thing that the test cases will enter would be the value n. Okay, so basically would be a scanf value or cin value, or would be a scanner value, scanner dot system dot input dot in value, right? So that, okay, so let's check. So first thing that they are saying is, and in fact I've made a diagram for your help also. He first turns and travels 10 units of distance. Now this time a lot of students were confused that, okay sir, second time they are telling upwards, third time they are telling left, fourth time they are telling downwards, fifth time that they are telling. But the first time they've not told, okay, which direction does he move? Right. So either you can, do hit and trial and test which test cases are matching manually, or you can read English properly. Right. Uh, they are saying fifth turn is to the right again. So this is a very important keyword, again. Now we'll check, okay, again, where is the right for the first time, right? Second turn upwards, third turn left, fourth turn downwards, fifth turn right again. So this must be true that the first turn is towards the right and 10 units of distance, right? So that is what they are saying. Okay. So first of all, we need to manually make the diagram for like 5-6 steps, and then we will understand, some kind of coding logic that, okay, what do we need to add in x and y position. So obviously we will have two variables called as x and y, and some cases based upon that we'll be incrementing, decrementing those x and y values, right? So let's see. So he starts from the 0, 0. So where they are saying he starts from the origin 0, 0. Okay. So with the step number 1, they start from 0, 0. He first turns again right again. So which is why he first turns right and travels 10 units of distance. So if the n value, or if the input value here is 1, so in that case the output would be 10, 0. Right, where expected output 10, not 10, 0. The expected output would be 10, would be 10, 10, 10 space 10. Right. So that is what they are saying. Okay. So now the second step, his second turn is upwards. Okay. So now a lot of people will get confused this time. So they are saying, okay, he turned right. So which is why he will be facing in this direction. Right. So his upward is this. No. If you even try to match your results with the test cases, it's not like that. They are just talking about in direction. Okay. Right means right of the center. Left means left of the origin. Upward means upward of the origin. Downwards means downward of the origin. So always origin is in the reference. Okay. So second turn is upward 20 units. So if the n value is 2, so 10 will remain the same. X value, because obviously here x value will remain the same. So if he is moving upwards, y value will get changed to 20. So the answer here would be 10 and 20. Again, the third turn is towards the left, 30 units. So again, what will happen this time? Y value will remain the same. This y value, that is 20. X value will get decremented by 30. Right. So again, 10 minus 30 is minus 20. So he will be here. Then again, sorry, by mistake I've written step 2, step 2, step 2 again and again. This should ideally be step 4. Right, in the next slide I've done it correctly. So this should be step 4. Right. So in the fourth turn, he is moving downwards 40 units, right? So in this case, x value will remain the same, y value will change. So 20 minus 40 would be minus 20, comma, minus 20. So answer would be minus 20, minus 20 for, so as you can see, input is 4, then output is minus 20, minus 20 here, right? If you can check, this is essentially here. All right. So moving further. Then again, for the fifth step, fifth turn is to the right again. So right of the origin is basically this direction, right? So right again. So in this case, 50 units. So x value will change, y value will remain the same. So minus 20 plus 50 is equals to 30, right? Same thing goes on. Now again, a lot of people will get confused. Okay, what if the value is 6? Okay, so now let me just explain you this here. So this is step, in fact, just let me use the pen here. So this is step 1, this is step 2, this is step 3, this is step 4, this is step 5. Now, if the n value, n is basically the variable that I will be using for coding. Basically, the compiler will know that, okay, some scanf you are using, or some cin you are using, or system.in you are using, right? So if the n value is 6, then what? So if the n value is 6, then they are clearly telling in the problem, then, and thus he travels. So thus he keeps on traveling with these 5 steps reiterating. Every time increasing the increasing by 10. So I will show you, it is not written in this slide, but previous slide you will be able to tell. So again he will start from step 1, but this time the distance will not be 10, this time the distance would be 60, because 50 was 10. In fact, let me just go to the previous slide wherein the whole problem is there, right? And thus he travels, every time increasing the travel distance by 10 units. So again 50 is at the 5th step, so step 6 would be, rather than 10, it would be 60. Right. So even with, if input is 7, the output is 90, 20. So we'll see that. Okay. So again here, if you check, so what is the step? He first turns and travels 10. So basically right turn and 10 distance. So this time it will be right turn, but distance would be 60. Right. So this is basically this step, right? This was the step number 1. So from here, which was the step number 5, he will continue with moving towards right, but this time rather than increasing 10, it will be 50 plus 10, that is 60, right? So again, he travels 60 and then comes here. So x value will increase. So 30 plus 60, it will become 90, right? And then again, step 2 was in this direction, upwards. If we, let me just show you again. Step 2 is his second turn is upward 20 units, right? So this time it will not be 20. The last distance was 60, right? So 60 plus 10, so this will be 70, right? So what will happen? 70 would be this distance. So y value will get increased. So minus 20 plus 70 is equals to 50. So the answer here would be 90, 50. So if the n value is 7, the output would be 90, 50. Right. So moving, if we check the test conditions here, expected output is 90, minus 20. Right. 90, 50. In fact, I have written it incorrectly there. So sorry, 90, minus 20 is for step 6. Right. So moving further, so these are the essential test cases here. Moving further, this is the some minor error I have made in the slide is basically with one test case I just randomly copy pasted in the slide, so which is why it turned out to be wrong. This is nothing but step 3, this is step 4, this is step 5, and then step 6, and then step 7 would be upwards, right? So all of this. So this is the scheme of coding, right? So again, moving further, so one thing more, let us start with the coding, right? So for coding, I will suggest you using online GDB as a compiler. So the name of the website is, in fact, let me just copy paste. So the name of the website is onlinegdb.com. The reason why we are telling this and not using PrepInsta's online compiler, or maybe IDE online compiler, or maybe HackerRank online compiler, is because TCS uses this particular company called Sphere Engines online compiler, and then this is a company that gives their online compiler APIs to different companies. So for example, here Infosys also uses their, Amazon also uses their, Metal is an exam that uses their, TCS Consultancy Services uses their online compiler, CodeChef uses their online compiler. So they give an API. With that API, the compiler can be installed on their website, so they do not need to write their own code for maybe HTML, CSS, maybe Ruby on Rails and all of these languages. You can just write a short code and automatically these APIs will handle everything. So which is why one free resource of such is online GDB, wherein you will get the same thing. However, Python, I will still say, Perl, I will still say, do not code in these two languages. Make sure that you are not coding in these two languages, right? So let's begin with the coding of, let's begin with the coding part of this video. Okay. So first thing that I would be, just give me 1 second. I'll just move my writing pad here, left and right. Okay. So the first thing, include Studio. I'll also be showing you the code in Python, in C, C++, and in C++ and Java at the end, when I'll be completing the code for C, right? And in fact, C++ is exactly the same, only printf and cout scene needs to be changed, right? So include std and stdlib, dot h. So this is the first, get the same thing. However, Python, I will still say, Perl, I will still say, do not code in these two languages. Make sure that make sure that you are not coding in these two languages, right? So let's begin with the coding of, let's begin with the coding part of this video. Okay. So first thing that I would be, just give me 1 second. I'll just move my writing pad here, left and right. Okay. So the first thing, include Studio. I'll also be showing you the code in Python, in C++, and in C++ and Java at the end when I'll be completing the code for C, right? And in fact, C++ is exactly the same, only printf and cout scene needs to be changed, right? So include std and stdlib dot h. So this is the first thing that I'm using. Now, first thing that I'm doing here is I am creating a variable int n, and with int n, I'll be scanf %d, comma, ampersand n, right? So the input value that I was supposed to take for all of these test cases, input value, I'm taking it in n, and it will understand that, okay, n is my input value. So you don't need to worry about it. Okay. Now, one more thing is I need to tell my compiler that, okay, I need to tell my compiler if I'm moving left or right or upwards or downwards, right? So all of these things. Now, apart from that, there's nothing else being used. So what I'll do is I will create a character constant char c, and I will initialize it with r, just simple r. And later on, you will understand why I'm doing it a little later. Then I'll also do initialize my x is equals to 0, comma, y is equals to 0. The reason why I'm doing it, because he starts at the origin, correct? So moving further, what he essentially does is, initially the first distance that he covers is 10, right? The first distance that he covers is 10, right? So what I'll be doing is int, let's say distance is equals to 10. So these are the variables that I'm initializing for my code. Later on, I'll be doing distance is equals to distance plus 10 every time whenever whenever anything is required, right? So you don't need to worry about that. I'll be taking all of it, right? Now, since this has to be done iteratively, maybe if the n value is, let's say, 7, so this has to be done 7 steps have to be followed, right? So which is why what I'll be doing here is, let me just write, and all of these things you will understand. Okay, so I will be using a while loop. So while n, so I hope this proficient you would be in coding and I don't need to explain you how while loop works, right? And then I'll be using switch case inside it. So switch c. Okay, so basically this r value is my switch case. Okay, so first thing that I will be creating here is that, okay, if the case value is r, right? So in this case, if the case value is r, the first thing that I will be doing is, if the case value is r, so let me just check. If r is the case value for the step number 1, so what happens here? He first turns right again, so right, and travels 10 units of distance. Okay, so what I'll be doing here is, I will be doing, so moving right means, just give me 1 second, I'll just demonstrate this to you as well. So he started at 0, 0 position. So moving right 10 position. So basically only my x value is getting incremented by 10. Okay. So what I'll do is, I'll write x is equals to x plus distance, right? My distance value is 10 currently. Okay. Now for the next step, obviously I need to increment my distance value. So my distance value, I will increment distance is equals to distance plus 10, because obviously if I am making further steps, so my distance value should get changed, right? And then break, right? Then moving further, case u. Now why case u is because my second step is upwards 20 units, right? So again 20 units, distance I have already increased by 10, so current distance would be 20, right? So but this time, since he is moving upwards, so my x value will remain the same, but my y value will get incremented, right? So what I need to do essentially here is, I need to write y is equals to y plus distance. Okay, simple. And then distance is equals to distance plus 10. Right, perfect. Then again, I will be using break statement. Right. Then finally, I'll be also using distance. So the next step is towards the left. Right. Or one more thing that I forgot to do here is I also would need to change the next case value, that is this C value. This C value. So once this step R is done, so I need to tell that okay, the next thing that you need to do would be U. Right. So I would change. So I would change my C value as U here before this break. Okay, so which is why next time when the while loop runs, so it will directly come here and implement this. So after this, obviously, I will change for case L. Right, let me just check if the case is L. Yeah, the case is L because he moves left, and then which is why I will be changing my C is equals to L here. Right. So now moving further here, what I'll do is in this case what happens here is my x value, my y value remains the same, my x value gets decremented. So again, since we are moving left, which is why left move, so which is why x value will decrease in any case, even if it's negative already in some step number 40, 50 or like that, it will still decrease. Right, so I'll write x is equals to x minus distance. So this is what I will be doing. Right, and then again distance is equals to distance plus 10, and then finally I will be doing C value is equals to I think we move downwards here. Right, so C value will be D, and then break statement. Okay, so this time what we'll be doing for case D, right, that is basically case downwards, right. So again what we'll be doing here, because obviously in case number D, the x value remains the same, y value decreases this time, right. So here I will write for case D, again very quickly, y is equals to y minus distance, right, and then distance is equals to distance plus 10 very quickly, and then finally the case is equals to what, right. Now let's check, in fact let me just put break first. Okay, so now which case, let's check about it. Now again he moves right. The problem here is again he moves right. If I write R, it will implement this part of it and will be basically going towards U, right. However, this should not be the case, right. Again, whatever I write, it should be completed and then it should move here, right, for step number 6. If all the 5 steps, if basically, let me just write it here, if basically all these steps are completed, right, so again it should come back to this step number 1, right. But if I write R, what will happen with my switch case, it will not come to this step, it will directly come here, and then this step will never be implemented, which is why even though the moving direction is right, again I should be using another keyword. So which is why I will be I will be using a keyword called as A, right. So again what I'll do here is I will write, instead of R, I will write case A, okay, and then break statement. So here moving further, doing the same thing, case A, and in case A what happens, basically we are moving right, so in this case y value will remain the same, x value will increase, so x is equals to x plus distance, right, and then finally distance is equals to distance plus 10, and then finally I'll be doing C is equals to, or no, not case, C is equals to A. Did I make any mistake like that earlier? No, right. So C is equals to R this time, and then finally break. So what happens? I implement this, then I implement this, then I implement this, and then finally the 5th step is this. As soon as this 5th step is implemented, the handle goes directly back again to this step. Now this time the distance would be 60 because every time 5 times the distance has been increased by 10. So here distance would become 60, right? So after this while loop has been implemented for n, again I think one more thing that we need to do in this switch case is we need to decrement the value of n. Right. So after this switch case, one time when the switch case is completed, what I will do is I will do n minus minus, right? And outside this while loop, I'll just say printf percentage d comma space percentage d comma x comma y. Right. So this is basically what I will be printing. Let me just compile it once and then let's hope that there are no errors. Okay, so there is one error, stdlib.h. Okay, so let's say I give a value of 4. Right, so it is printing minus 20, minus 20. Let's go back and check here for step number. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, I've written this incorrectly. Step 2. This should be step 4. So this is minus slide error. That's all. Right. So minus 20, minus 20. Right. And then again, let's check for step number 7, which is 90, 50. Right. So if I run it again and enter value as 7. So it is printing 90, 50, right? Then again, if I, let's say, probably enter 8, so it will give me the new values like that, right? So again, TCS Ninja Coding, right? So if we go back to our website, in this case, you will be able to find all the questions, or for this particular question, you will be able to find the code in C++ and Python also, and Java as well. So here this would be the same code for Python, this would be the code for Java, this would be the code for, in fact, am I showing you correctly? No. So this is the correct one, right? So this would be the code for C++, this would be the code for Java, this would be the code for Python. As you can see, exactly same thing I'm using, exactly same thing I'm using. This would be the code for Perl. So Java also, same cases, switch cases are being used. The only difference is basically printf, C in, C out, same nomenclature, whole of the thing is same, right? So going back is, so again, with this video, I hope that you were able to learn a good number of things, right? We'll be uploading a few more videos. There would be like 1 or 2 coding videos that we'll also upload for TCS NQT. So the link to that would be provided in the description below. Probably, so some people who are watching it live, right? So maybe you will not get that link right now at the very same time, maybe, right? Because those videos have not been uploaded on right, so like that. But if you're watching it a little later, in that case those links would be uploaded for you. Since with the live lectures, again I will be telling like languages that you can use and all the compilation errors and syllabus and all. So what we'll do is we will put the link so that the video directly plays from the coding part. So let's say it will start from 7 minutes. If the coding starts from 7 minutes and 30 seconds, let's say, so we will put a link with the time stamp with it, just like YouTube happens, right? Okay, so now since we've checked the whole code, let me take up a few questions. So Raghav is asking, sir, I am very good with Python language, I don't want to switch to C or C++, is it necessary to do so? Raghav, if it is your personal choice, I would recommend that, with the past experience that Prepinsta has, which is the market leader in placement preparation, we recommend you not to do so. Not to code in Python or Perl. However, if you want to take the risk further, it is completely your choice, right? Then comes the question on how do you prepare for actually TCS, right? So there could be 2 scenarios, since Prepinsta is partnered with more than 1000 colleges in India. So maybe your college has already bought Prepinsta's TCS NQT online classes or Prepinsta whole placement plan for you. So in that case, you can prepare via that. If they haven't already, or if they are doing it via other companies, in that case, you can go ahead and buy our online classes from the website. Last year, approximately, last year, approximately 91% of the students, not approximately, it's exact data, 91% of the students who actually got placed in TCS were Prepinsta students. So 91% who got placed in TCS were Prepinsta students, not 91% who joined our online classes, right? Got placed. Okay. And this and last year it was 89% of the total number of students who got placed in TCS were from Prepinsta. So if there are 100 people working who got job in TCS last year, 89 of those 100 were from Prepinsta. So this year we also expect that we increase this number, since there was 2% decrease from last to last year and this year. Right. So you can join our online classes. Approximately 72 hours of online, 72 hours of recorded videos are there. There are approximately daily live lectures on TCS NQT preparation, and the whole course for aptitude section, for verbal section would be completed. For the coding section, there are so lot of videos which will help you prepare for all the syllabus that I showed you earlier. And for the programming MCQ section, there is data structures and C++ also, which is being asked. So that will also be included in the same course. So you don't have to worry. Most of our students, in fact, 97% of the students who join online classes of Prepinsta at least clear the written round, right? And obviously there's placement preparation plan also included. So you will also get interview preparation plan also, interview preparation videos also, resume also, and mock interviews also. You don't have to worry. You can join it today. A lot of people say that, okay, I'll prepare from myself, I prepare from probably books and all of that. I will recommend that you can try doing so, but if you've spent lakhs and lakhs of rupees throughout your 22 years of your life, finally to get a job, you should be, preparing the best, right? You can't give CAT or GATE or IIT that I'll prepare from myself, right? You always need some external help to learn concepts. So which is why I'll recommend to do so, that, just because of some mere money, 1000, 2000 rupees, I will recommend not to take risk in future, for your future, that is getting a job. Because of this situation of coronavirus and all, it's actually already very difficult to get a job, right? So I recommend you to joining our online course if you like. If you have any questions, make sure that you do ask that in the comment section. In fact, every video we select 3 people who have the best questions, who have the best queries from our comment section, and then we give them free online classes. So if your comment gets our comment moderators attention, you will get the online classes completely free of cost. So make sure that you also do that. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel and like the video. To get off-campus updates, also follow Prepinsta on our Instagram, Telegram, and WhatsApp. Since a lot of drives are happening in partnership with Prepinsta, if you don't get to know about all of those drives, maybe it will be difficult for you to get placed. So if you get to know about drives and opportunities, your chances of getting placed would be higher if many companies do not visit your campus. So join your Telegram, Instagram to get to know about off-campus drive and also placement preparation. Thank you so much. I will definitely be seeing you up in the next video, and I'm glad to have you all here. Thank you.